Hi everyone, my name is Courtney and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be doing a review of The Deep Sky by Yumi Kitase, mostly because I want more people to read it because it's really good. So The Deep Sky is a standalone sci-fi novel in a slightly near, not so distant future, and it has elements of literary fiction as well as mystery thriller slash maybe a little bit of psychological horror thrown in there. So it's genre bending, it's got a lot of elements playing into it, but it's really grounded in these characters, in their story, especially in our main character. So our main character is Asuka, and Asuka is half Japanese, half American. So basically from a young age, she was picked out to be part of this space organization thing, and she's picked out to be a part of this crew as a representation for Japan. And this crew is leaving a Earth which is on the edge of collapse in hopes of going to another planet in the far distance. All of them are women or were born women. So there are trans man and non-binary characters, but basically they were all chosen to be on this crew because they could get pregnant. And so they are on this cruise ship. They're going to be inseminated at some point, hopefully bear children, go back into a sleep state, and then reach this planet and rehabilitate it while Earth is on the edge of collapse. But Asuka's journey is starting out because she feels like she really doesn't belong on this crew. She's in an alternate position, which basically means she doesn't have like a main thing that she has to do. And so she's normally tasked with doing all these little odd jobs among the ship. And so she often feels like she's just like the odd one out. Her story catalysts when she is looking for the screwdriver for one of the other people as part of like one of her little tasks that she does. And Asuka's basically been charged with trying to figure out this murder mystery kind of thing that's going on. All the while, Asuka is dealing with coming to terms with a relationship with her mother, which is really tense. Obviously, she's left Earth. She's never coming back. So she thinks that this is the end of that relationship, but her past starts coming into play. We are getting flashbacks to how she even got on the space mission to begin with and the complications she's had with her mother up to this point. And we also are seeing through the flashbacks her relationships with the other crew's members and how that kind of affects her standings now as kind of feeling as the odd man out in this situation, how she developed relationships and where they stand now. It's just a really compelling arc for me personally. I love seeing those relationship dynamics. It really appeals to my character-driven heart. And the other big thing is that since this is a near distant future, there are different technologies now, and one of the technologies that a lot of people utilize is like a reality enhancement kind of thing. All of the crew members were kind of basically chipped when they left Earth, so now they have this alternate reality in their brains where basically they can turn on the function to not see the spaceship and they get to see their own little worlds that they created. Like Asuka's is always like a little forest that she gets to walk through, so it's just not as monotonous as seeing this really boring ship all the time. But this starts to cause problems for Asuka too, because suddenly her system is glitching. She's not seeing her fake reality anymore, but when she interacts with other people, she's starting to see their realities, but there's something else going on. There's a glitch, and so that starts to affect everything. And as the mystery thriller tense aspect starts to come in, we get like some of that psychological horror from what is going on with that system. Is she imagining it? Is it a glitch? All that kind of stuff. As well as there is also a AI program that basically talks Asuka through things. And is it going rogue? Is it fighting against them? Do they need to turn it off? And as you can tell, there's just a lot going on in this book. That's why I really enjoyed it. There's the literary aspect with all the relationship dynamics, getting to see Asuka's past. There's a lot of questions, deep questions that the story is asking about conservation versus like trying to start again. And there's also that mystery thriller horror aspect because things are just not what they appear to be. So there's a lot going on and a lot going for it. For me, I enjoyed that there was so much going on. It really kept me focused, really kept me engaged, but I felt like all of those things came together in a really satisfying way. And so that's the big thing for me. There's a lot going on, but it made sense and it worked and it came together, and it was just a blending of genres, the blending of a lot of different events, and it just made a really compelling sci-fi fantasy novel for me. But at the heart of it, the characters are the most important. Of course, my camera storage is full, but I want to finish out this review, so I'm just gonna do it on my phone. Hopefully the audio worked for this, but I really loved how all the things came together. It felt very purposeful, like the way the flashbacks interwove, the way the different story elements interwove. It had a lot going on, but again, it wove together. It felt like it was introducing a new thing at the right appropriate time, and I just really enjoyed this. I gave this this a 4.25 stars. It's exactly what I'm looking for when I'm looking for speculative fiction, when I'm looking for a sci-fi novel that is more character focused. It just was really, really enjoyable, but I didn't give it a full 5 stars and it wasn't perfect for me. So the kind of main elements that detracted from the story for me is that I don't know if this was an audiobook thing, if the narrator just wasn't great about adding to the tension, but for me, when the psychological elements started to happen, it didn't feel like there was enough buildup. Actually, like in the scenes, like there was enough moments of weird stuff happening, but there wasn't enough, like scene by scene, I felt like the moments should have been written about a little bit more. It should have been a little bit tenser so that when we get to these big climactic moments of more horror, that it really felt striking and it really felt like it was building toward that. For me, I just needed a little bit more. And then the main kind of detractor, the bigger one I would say, is that for the most part, this novel touches on all the themes that I was hoping it would touch on, like colonialism, imperialism, a lot of different aspects that come with like leaving your own planet and going to a new world. And I thought it did it really successfully, but with this added AR element, you know, you expect it to discuss it, and it did, but the like kind of big speech that one of the characters gives is just really corny at the end of the novel. It was like, we shouldn't be working against each other, we've been divided too long, we haven't really been friends because we've been in our own worlds. And like, yeah, that would have been a fine point, but it wasn't really that important to the novel. For me, the whole big thing is that Asuka feels really divided from this society on the ship because of the situation she's in, because of her past up to this point. And so the only real escape she has is in this AR world. And so when she loses that, it's losing a comfort and it's kind of driving her to interact with other characters, but it wasn't really successful at showing the characters not coming together with Asuka because of their own AR systems. Like if people were kind of brushing off Asuka more and not wanting her around because they wanted to deal with their own alternate realities, I could see where that kind of point at the end could come together. It never felt like anybody was really not wanting to be with Asuka because they were in their own heads. So I felt like that point could have been pushed earlier in the story to really show the difference between Asuka with AR and now having to deal with the crew without having that. It could have shown the divide more starkly, and it could have shown her unraveling a little bit more because she doesn't have the AR system a little bit more. Like she definitely noticed it and was like upset that she didn't have it, but it could have been a bigger factor of the story that she feels even more divided because she doesn't have a way to escape now. But if you are looking for a really interesting sci-fi novel, if you're looking for a book with little to no romance in it, Asuka does not have any romantic inclinations or sexual inclinations. As far as I'm aware, she is an asexual, aromantic baddie. And if you're looking for that literary fiction leaning sci-fi fantasy novel, this book is going to be for you. Again, it just had all these elements, but it came together just really successfully and it was just really, really good. I feel silly just saying it was really, really good, but literally I could gush about this book and I wouldn't say anything like actually constructive because I just really enjoyed it, and it's definitely one of the better books that I've read this year. I think about it a lot. I could easily reread this, and it's a really easy book to recommend because I really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's for everybody because again, it has a lot going on. It's more that literary leaning side of things, but for me, it did everything that I kind of want in this kind of story, and it did it really, really well. So that's gonna be my review of The Deep Sky. Highly, highly recommend this. Definitely will probably be one of the books on my favorites of the year. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've read this, if you're gonna read it now. I would love to know. And as always, happy reading.